Patrick, and I'm from Gretna, Virginia, and I'm here for keeping the ban. There are some very important bills we need to fight. One of them today is Senate Bill 1353, which will establish regulations for uranium mining, and there's also a Senate Bill 919 that will establish a 3% severance tax for uranium pulled from the ground. And we've got 40 citizens on the bus from Pennsylvania today, and we have the entire board of supervisors on the Pennsylvania. People from North Carolina and people from Richmond. A lot of people still opposed to uranium mining. We're fighting it. We're going to see what happens when the Senate Agriculture Committee meets today.
The third, I'm from Halifax County, Virginia, and I'm here fighting the uranium situation that we have here in Richmond. It's come up this year in the 2013 General Assembly, and the residents of my area, I'm fortunate enough to own my own business, Bailey Masonry, and able to come here to the Capitol and lobby against lifting the ban on uranium. Many people know that this is very dangerous. Uranium mining has tailings which can actually, the dust can get in the water, it can get in our land, and if an accident happens, it could actually destroy Southside Virginia down through North Carolina all the way to the coast. Virginia Beach gets their water from Lake Gaston, which the Bannister River is in a area where up from the Coles Farm, where they have a lot of low-lying areas where if major floods come, I know we have 40-some% annual rainfall, and it's a lot of rain for our area, and it's not a good idea to mine it there because we have tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. Well, I mean, anything could go wrong, and to store these tailings on site and something happens, it gets in the Bannister River. That goes into the dam at South Boston, Virginia, which goes into the Staunton River in Scottsburg, and that is Bugs Island, Lake Kerr Dam. It goes down to Lake Gaston, and then Virginia Beach area and Tidewater area of Virginia get their water from the pipeline there. I'm surprised that a few delegates like Delegate Lionel Sproul from Chesapeake is supporting this measure. I'm surprised that the Virginia Uranium Incorporated has given money to the Black Caucus and tried to, get them to go along with them on this. This is just wrong, especially to try to persuade people and tell them it's safe when it's definitely not. And I thank you for your time.
Mass of people that you see here are here because we are so concerned about uranium mining in the state of Virginia. And we are so disappointed with Governor McDonald taking discretionary funds, $1.3 million, to pay to write regulations on something that he could not pass last year. That tells me that the state of Virginia needs to get rid of the governor's discretionary fund, because how dare you take money that taxpayers put in to usurp the legislative authority of elected senators and House of Delegate members. He went around us and wrote the framework for the regulations. That's ridiculous. This uranium mining has the probability of destroying not only Virginia's water, but the water of the peoples of North Carolina. The water from Bugs Island goes to Virginia Beach and to Chesapeake. And also the headwater of Bugs Island. The Bugs Island is headwater of the Albemarle Sound. So there you've got Henderson and Warren and Oxford and Nash, all these counties below us getting water from Bugs Island. So then they say we can
facility that is really a landfill in which they put clay and then a plastic liner. All clay liners, all plastic liners leak. What makes this different than a regular landfill is they're going to take the contaminated water and put it on top of mine tailings. In the West, they assume that that will evaporate, but in the East, the amount of precipitation will outweigh the amount of evaporation, and so the impoundments will begin to overflow, or they will, if they don't overflow, it's because they're leaking out the bottom. When it comes to landfills, they take on water and they let out water. So what will happen is this impoundment will take on water, it will let out water, and it will not only contaminate groundwater and surface water, but as these big open ponds or small lakes are sitting there, they're going to evaporate into the air, and then it's going to blow up the East Coast and wherever the prevailing winds go. So the containment of the best circumstances, their best practices, is inevitable that it will contaminate the area. If there is something catastrophic, it most definitely will, and it'll be a high dosage of it. The other could be low dosages that happen over a long period of time.
Where are we going? Democratic process, the backdoor. I think this is a strong victory for our side, a really proud day.
Do you share the celebrations optimism as you just said?
Deep into the century.
Yeah,
I would echo Senator McKeechan's statement and Senator Ruff's statement. I think they both hit it dead on, and obviously we've got to be vigilant. We've got to make sure that there aren't any sort of backdoor shenanigans, but I'm confident that people's voice has been heard. I don't think anyone would try to circumvent the democratic process when the people have spoken so loudly and so overwhelmingly. And it's not just the environmental community, not just the conservation community. It's this has really been the voice from farmers, from physicians, from small business owners in Southside, from parents. Have all said, we don't want to put our water at risk, we don't want to put our health at risk, we don't want to put our economy at risk. This is strong.
Make sure we understand.
No, I think one of the most telling polls or surveys that was done on this, the Governor's Uranium Mining Working Group did a business attitude survey, a survey of business leaders in the Commonwealth, just at the beginning of the session. And that survey came out with 50.3% of business leaders in support of keeping the ban, and only 39% working to lift it, and obviously 11% with no opinion or undecided. But when you've got an 11-point spread on business leaders, I think that tells you that this is not just an environmental issue. This is about the future of economic development for Southside, and it's a good day for Southside, undoubtedly.
Thanks, Gil.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I mean, is there any gaps?
Are you trying to get one? I'm going to grab.
Tyler Madison, Sierra Club, Richmond, Virginia.
What are your thoughts on the bill being stricken down?
Oh, I think it's fantastic news that the bill has been stricken, and hopefully it won't come up this afternoon in finance or appropriations or anything else slick, because we know that there's always different ways you can change a bill and bring it back to life. So hopefully it's over and it's dead, and people power did it.
My concern is that best practices, instead of preventing contamination, would actually facilitate it, would actually legalize it, would authorize it. Now, the way you do that is you speculate on what would be safe levels of contamination, and then what you do is you build into the regulations these levels of contamination. And the idea is that as long as you remain within these allegedly safe exposure levels, then you're in compliance with regulations. To give an example of how this works, in South Carolina, that's where the regional radioactive waste facility is. That facility started leaking and is leaking into the Savannah River. The folks took it to court and said, hey, you're contaminating contaminating the Savannah River. And of course what happened, and also a nearby stream, well, the judge said that this is of monumental significance, but the situation is in compliance with regulation, and he then went on ahead and renewed the license for the company. So the thinking of the common person on the street is that this will be okay because we'll have regulations that protect us. But in point of fact, these regulations do not protect us. They authorize, they legalize, they even facilitate contamination. So because these best practices are, from our view, arbitrary and capricious, we would interpret the lifting of the ban as an arbitrary and capricious intention to transform this region of the South and beyond into a radioactive way of life, and ultimately a radioactive wasteland in perpetuity. And obviously we couldn't accept that, and so we would have to go to litigation, and we would have to go to massive demonstrations in order to discourage the initiative.